The first person that I think that, I talked about going into medicine would be the Aboriginal liaison at the U of A through the Faculty of Medicine, and she was the kind of the person to push me and say, well, you know what, even though you have a child, she's like, you can still do it. She's like, other people have kids and are able to go through school and stuff like that. So she would probably be the first one. Going back to the reserve, I did a rural rotation with Dr. Tailfeathers, who she works in her own community and she was able to do it and to make it work. So she was kind of that person for me who made me realize that if I want to go back home, there are going to be challenges to working here, but also there's a lot of good things being in your home community, being around your family. And, seeing that with her kind of pushed me through that. And through my residency, my family medicine preceptor also, he was a really good influence on me of staying rurally, because he would tell me, if you go back to the urban center, he's like, I'll be so disappointed in you, kind of pushing me to work on reserves, and that, that would be a good thing for me to do. With rural residency programs, if you're a teaching site or if you're a site in which you can expose other residents and students to, then that's great, because then they can see what being on the reserve is like, because I know a lot of people have not been on the reserve ever and don't know what working on the reserve actually looks like. So I think exposure is one thing. When I think back to when I was a resident, looking at places I would like to work at, it would be the people and the community. If I had a good experience somewheres and enjoyed my time there, that would make me consider working there. Right. The other thing would be seeing the colleagues work together and seeing how, they get along and how they enjoy being, colleagues and working with each other. That was a big thing. If you've seen that within a community, of course that's attractive. You want to get along with the people and enjoy your work day as much as you do your personal life. So I think that would be like a big thing. So we're looking at having Saddle Lake as an Aboriginal site, as a rural site for people to come out and spend time with me. So it'll work out good, because I think that I do have a full scope practice. I do surgical assist, I do hospital work, I have long-term care patients, I do the emergency room, and I do clinics. So I think that I have a really good practice that people can learn a lot from. When you choose at the end of your residency what you're gonna work in, I think you just have to know whether or not rural life is for you, number one, or if a rural residency is for you, because the things that we learn in our rural residency actually teach us to be rural family physicians and be rural emergency room doctors. And if you want, you could do low risk obstetrics, right? So that you have to know if that's doing the program sets you up for that. When I finished my program, I felt ready to work in the emergency room by myself. Right? I felt I was given a lot of responsibilities, to which I was the only one in the hospital all the time. So they kind of set you up so that you're ready to work. The other thing is too, you get a lot of emergency room exposure in a rural program, because I did the emergency room throughout the whole 2 years of my program. So I was always in there. I was always working in there. I was always seeing all the things that, I would see as a rural physician. So when I started working, I felt, ready to jump into that role. So I think you just have to know if that's for you. The life is a lot different, definitely. And I think you have to just, if you're thinking of it, just be open that, your scope of practice is going to be, way more different. And the thing about what I liked about the rural residency program was that, the variety of stuff that you get to do and get to see, I like that. I like having some variety in my life and being able to jump into the emergency room. I like that. I like that, the different aspects of it and all the things that I get to do.